SummerSlam is just under a week away, and I think it's fair to say it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Sure, there are some potential pearlers in there like Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, and even Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. But then there's also Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin, and The New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Now, I don't want this video to come off as me being really negative and that I'm not looking forward to SummerSlam at all, because that's not entirely true. However, I just think that with a few minor adjustments, a potential 6 out of 10 pay-per-view could become an 8 or 9. With that said, I'm Liam from WrestleVision, and let's take a look at 5 potential changes that could be made to SummerSlam that would make it better. Number 1, cut the matches no one cares about. SummerSlam has been allocated a 7-hour time slot, which would mean if a person in the UK is going to watch it live all the way through, which I am because I'm mental, it's going to take from 10 PM to 5 AM. And I don't really want to do that. There's one way to fix this issue though, and that is cut the matches no one cares about. I referred to them in the intro before. Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. We've seen it about 23 times in the last 2 months. And I don't care. I literally could not give a single whatever. The SmackDown Tag Team title match. The New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Again, we don't need to see this again. Why couldn't it be the bar? Just switch things up a little bit. And I get that you want all your biggest stars on SummerSlam because it's SummerSlam. But, I mean, this is what TakeOver does so well. It's not as long, and it just gets the matches that people want to see and the stars that people want to see. We don't see Cassius Ohno versus Marcel Bartel on TakeOvers, and there's a reason for that. So why should we see Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin? And it's not the time I have an issue with. It's 7 hours long, and that would be great if it was 7 hours of good wrestling and exciting entertainment. But it's not. It's 2 hours of good and exciting entertainment, and then the rest of the 5 hours is just a little bit either average or worse. Anyway, point is, SummerSlam would be made better if you took off maybe Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin, SmackDown Tag Team title match, and potentially even Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens, though that does now have the extra stipulation. Yeah, I'm just... Number 2, take Charlotte Flair out of the SmackDown Women's title match. For a week, WWE let us think that SummerSlam was going to be Becky Lynch's crowning moment where she could overcome Carmella, who has defeated Charlotte Flair twice, Asuka twice, I think, probably even more times, and win the SmackDown Women's title match after ages and ages and ages of doing absolutely nothing. And then Charlotte Flair returns, and all of a sudden she's put in the match as well. It becomes a triple threat, and it's all just a little bit deflating. And it's not that I don't like Carmella, it's just that this was supposed to be Becky Lynch's crowning moment where she could overcome the heel champion one-on-one to win the title on a very, very big stage. And now that's seemingly been taken away from her. It doesn't mean, of course, that Becky's not going to win. She might still do. But I think it feels a little bit less special in a triple threat match. Now, this is potentially setting up a little something for the Evolution pay-per-view, possibly Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. But again, I don't really want to see that. I'd rather just Becky Lynch was champion and go from there. Obviously, it's difficult to just write someone out of a match. You can't just take them out and say, well, you're not in it anymore. There's got to be a reason, and I've got a good reason to take Charlotte Flair out of the SmackDown Women's title match, and that reason is Asuka. Charlotte, of course, beat Carmella at WrestleMania to break her undefeated streak, and the Empress hasn't been the same since. And I think that this would be a good opportunity to turn Asuka heel, have her something flicks in her brain, and she just goes absolutely ape on Charlotte. Now, I'm not saying this is something I really want to see. This could set up a Asuka versus Charlotte match at Evolution pay-per-view. I'm not saying that's something I'm really urging to see, but if it means Charlotte being taken out of the SummerSlam SmackDown Women's title match, then I am all for it. But yeah, if you could think of any other ways to potentially write Charlotte out of the SmackDown Women's title match, drop them in the comments below. Number 3, focus more on Samoa Joe and AJ Styles' history. It's 2018, it's SummerSlam, it's WWE Champion AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, and how mental is that? However, what's even more mental than that, and also a little bit aggravating, is that WWE are failing to focus on AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe's history, and are instead revolving the story around AJ Styles' children. You don't need me to sit here and go through AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe matches. We all know they've had fantastic matches all over the world, in most notably TNA/Impact. But WWE's stubbornness in not mentioning other promotions' names is really hindering this program, and instead it's just Samoa Joe telling AJ Styles that his sacrifice and leaving his wife at home isn't worth it, and he doesn't care about his family, when in fact every single professional wrestler is doing the exact same thing that AJ Styles is doing. So I really don't understand where Joe's coming from. Sure, this is a good way to tell us a short story to get to a pay-per-view a couple of weeks before it, but this is Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. This is years and years and years and years of history, and WWE's ignorance is really irritating, to the point where they're not mentioning it, and it really is baffling. And this is AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, and I'm sat here moaning about it, and that tells you all you need to know about how disappointing it is. I should be sat here jizzing everywhere. Well, maybe not that, but just really excited that we're getting Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles in a WWE Championship match at the biggest pay-per-view in wrestling. Number 4, add a stipulation to Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins. So on Raw, these two had a normal match. It was an open challenge. Dolph Ziggler won. And then at the next pay-per-view after that, Extreme Rules, we had an Iron Man match which lasted 30 minutes. Yes, it didn't really go as planned. It wasn't a good match at all, and the crowd ruined it as well. But it just seems like going from stipulation to non-stipulation is going backwards. There aren't actually any stipulation matches on SummerSlam, so just add one. Just put a stipulation on it. They might do between now and Raw, or on Raw even. But yeah, I just think this match needs a little spark, because it's Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins. It could easily be an absolutely sensational match, and perhaps it doesn't need a stipulation to make it good, but the fact that we've already seen it so many times, and like I said, the fact we've already seen an Iron match between the two, it just feels like the program's stuck in limbo. And let's face it, from what's been happening on Raw recently, it is that there's not actually been anything going on really. It's just been Drew McIntyre attacking Seth Rollins every week. Now, obviously, it's a question of what stipulation do you add. I don't actually know. Maybe a ladder match could be fun. A ladder match could be fun, actually. Yeah. I literally hadn't thought of one, but actually a ladder match. I'd like to see that. Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins Intercontinental title ladder match. Yes, please, Doctor. Then again, I don't want it to take away from the genuine kind of wrestling abilities of Ziggler and Rollins, but if they could pull a ladder match off and still get that in, then I think that would be very good. If you can think of any better stipulations, then you know what to do. Put them in the comments below. Number 5, make sure Elias is on there. Now, I could sit here all day and tell you how good Elias is, but the fact is, everyone already knows he is absolutely sensational. But he doesn't have a match at SummerSlam. Why is that? Because he's stuck in a... it's not even a feud, it's just he's stuck in something with Bobby Lashley, and they're probably going to end up having a match on the kickoff show, and that's not what Elias deserves. I don't necessarily think Elias should have a match either. We've already been over taking out pointless matches, so I think just give Elias 15 minutes and just let him perform the 4 songs off his album, and with no interruptions, and just be done with it. He could even open the show. We know how much he gets the crowd into whatever it is he's doing. He's a master manipulator of the crowd, and he could open a pay-per-view, whether it be get the crowd pumped or just get them on their feet. The Brooklyn crowd will love Elias, we all know that, and I think just let him perform songs without being interrupted. No Bobby Lashley, no interruptions, just some nice symphonies from Elias. Would I prefer it if Elias had a match? Yes, probably, but it's too late now to add one in and just make the pay-per-view even longer than it already is. And that would just be a hindrance more than anything, as good as Elias is. Essentially, what I'm saying is Elias is still one of the hottest acts in WWE, and he's not on the card anywhere. He's nowhere to be seen at SummerSlam, and that needs to change. Even if he does have a match, that's fine, I suppose. It means we get to see him. But to be honest, I'd rather just hear him sing. And that wraps up 5 things that I think WWE could do to make SummerSlam better. Now the question goes to you. What do you think WWE could do to improve the biggest party of the summer? Let us know in the comments below, of course. Also, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, that would be massively appreciated. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And also follow us on Twitter at WrestleVisionYT, because we are going to be live tweeting through SummerSlam, the entirety of the show, from the official WrestleVision Twitter account, which is at WrestleVisionYT. So follow us over there for our live tweeting of SummerSlam, and also to get the quickest notifications when we upload. Just to repeat real quick, that is at WrestleVisionYT on Twitter. Signing off, question of the day: what would you do to improve SummerSlam? In the comments below, let us know. Thanks for watching. I've been Liam from WrestleVision, and I'll see you next time.